Baby, can't wait. Halloween review, it's gonna... I'm about to do a review on all the Halloween movies. Why don't you come on inside? The front door's open. You can help me. Alright, see you inside. Man, that was quick. Oh, hey, how you doing? Ah! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, The Zach Show. I'm your host, Zach, and today, since we're in the midst of October, the spooky season, and Halloween Ends is coming to theaters this weekend, I thought, why not a better time than to rank a series near and dear to my heart, the Halloween franchise, 12 films over my lifetime and before that I love, and I'm going to rank them from my least favorite all the way to numero uno, my favorite. Now guys, remember, this is an opinionated list. It is my opinion on where I rank these movies. So it's not saying these are the best. I'm not saying that. It's just which ones do I enjoy the most out of these. You know, and you guys are all going to have different reviews on it. Comment down below your list, your rankings of where you put these Halloweens. This is just my list, and guys, I'm excited for it. Love this franchise. Love the character Michael Myers. Can't wait to see Halloween Ends. But hey, before that, we got 12 movies to go through. Which ones make the cut? Which one is going to be my favorite Halloween of all time? You might have an idea. I don't know. Let's see. Guys, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start the countdown of my favorite Halloween film, starting with
number 12.
Alright guys, starting off the list at number 12, my least favorite of the Halloween movies. I hate to do it to him because he's my boy, but Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is... I don't know what to say about it. It is just not the movie I was hoping it was going to be. I really liked his 2007 version, the remake slash reboot kind of thing of Halloween. I thought that was really good, just for my perspective. I know a lot of people don't like his movies, but I did like that one. And I was excited going into this one, and it started off pretty good with a hospital scene, but then after that, man, it just brought it down, just everything about it. I'm talking I didn't like the way that Laurie was portrayed. I didn't like the white horse side story. That was weird. Michael speaking at the end. It was just kind of all over the place. It did have parts here and there, but man, I just felt like it was so boring. I felt like there was so much more they could have done with this film. Like I said, man, I hate that I had to put that number 12 because I really like Rob Zombie and I really like some of his movies, but this one just did not hit the nail on the head for me. I felt like it was something completely different. Like I said, the white horse and all that just really threw it off. I don't know. I don't ever consider myself like, hey, let's watch Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie. That's why it is at the bottom here, because I think I would literally watch every other movie before his. But it takes the number 12 spot, so I don't know, guys. But on to
number 11.
Alright guys, so Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, comes in at the number 11 spot. Now, I have mixed feelings about this movie because when I was a kid, I remember renting this VHS and watching it in the dark by myself, and I just felt so scared, and you know, like, I remember that part of it. But as I watched it over the years as I got older, man, some things just don't hold up. Now, I will give credit where credit's due. The beginning part where Jamie, who's now older, is carrying a baby. She's trying to escape Michael. I really liked that whole scene. I thought that was pretty cool. This is the movie, the film introduction of Paul Rudd. And he plays a creep in this movie. He's Tommy Doyle grown up, but he is so weird in this movie. I guess it works. Loomis, you could tell, is just getting old. You know, I think Donald Pleasance died, somewhere around this time period. I think it was before the movie was released, and man, you hate to see this as his final work. The whole cult thing threw me off. I was not a fan of the cult stuff. The way it had some good visuals, but the cult thing, like 616 Entertainment said before, that side story that it could have worked with Michael impregnating Jamie, like, that's just weird. I'm glad that wasn't in there. There was some good scenes, but it's just, I don't know. Besides that opening part, I don't see this as a movie. It doesn't hold up from childhood. It was scary as a kid, but I mean, you could pop in anything with Michael Myers as a kid, and I would have been scared. But I don't know. It just doesn't hold up, but it is better than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So it's at the 11th spot. But besides that, we are cracking the top 10. So let's get right into
Number 10.
Alright guys, cracking the top 10 is 2002's Halloween Resurrection. Now, this movie, it took a while from when I first saw it. I hated it as a kid. As I got older, it's a good time, I guess, if you want to say that. First off, the ending of Halloween H2O right before this, which I think, spoilers, is the perfect ending to any Halloween film. They kind of retconned it and twisted it where actually Michael's not dead, goes through this whole thing. Well, that already got me mad. Then they kill Laurie Strode in like the first 10-15 minutes. Not a good way to start the film. But I will say this, out of the whole film, that one right there is, those first 20 minutes is probably the most Halloweenish this movie felt. To me, it felt like it wasn't a Michael Myers Halloween film. I mean, it starts, it goes from that straight into like this reality show where these guys and girls are going inside Michael Myers' house for Dangertainment, which is hosted by Busta Rhymes, which is probably the best part of this movie. Yeah, he's a little cringy. Yeah, he's silly, but man, he's funny. The scene with him and Michael where he's dressed up as Michael Myers and he thinks one of his guys is dressed up like Michael Myers and he's just sitting there pointing at him and telling him to go. To me, that was hilarious. But it also, I felt like that damaged Michael Myers. So that's not Michael Myers. He killed him right there, not just turned around and walked away. And then the kung fu karate stuff at the end of the film where he's beating up Michael and kicking him and stuff. I don't know. If it was any other movie, I could see it happening to Freddy. I could see, them doing it to some other people. But to Michael Myers, and he's taking this and he's losing, I don't know. To me, that hurts the film. Besides that, it was alright. I mean, that's why it's number 10. It's one of those that I don't necessarily enjoy watching, but if I find it on, I'll have it on background noise and possibly stop and watch some parts compared to the previous two. So that's where that one stands on mine. And now we're gonna jump in to
Number 9.
guys, the number 9 spot, relatively new, last year's Halloween Kills. Now I know what you're saying. What? That's kind of low. Some people like it, some people didn't. I was kind of in a mix there. Coming off of the 2018 version of Halloween, which I thought was really good, and I thought, man, that's a perfect way to end that. it continues, and I was intrigued going into this. However, whenever it got in there, I don't know, Michael's just too old to be doing some of the stuff he's doing. The kills were great. I mean, there was a lot of kills, don't get me wrong. The whole gang, evil dies tonight thing, that was just getting funny. The whole theater was laughing the whole time they kept saying it, because it was just over and over. I really wanted Tommy Doyle in this incarnation of him to, man, I mean, he was the ringleader, but then, I don't know, the ending, it just kind of left me a little flat. The last kill of the movie, I still haven't figured out how he teleported into that house. I was wondering afterwards, I was like, okay, was this a dream sequence? What's going on with it? But the kills were great. It definitely lived up to his name. I mean, he went John Wick on these firemen. You could have fooled me and thought that was John Wick in a Michael Myers mask. I mean, he was going crazy. Why everyone, the mob and the firemen, both just stood around and did one thing at a time instead of just jumping in on them, I'll never know. But it was all right. There was like a really sad scene with the hospital and a mental patient, and man, that just, those 10-15 minutes or whatever that whole thing was going on, completely, I forgot this was a Halloween film. And that happened at sometimes. Like I said, the kills were good. Maybe if I keep watching it more over the years, it will raise up on the list. But for right now, guys, I got to give it the number 9 spot. It was all right. I just wasn't as big a fan as the other ones. So now, moving in to
Number 8.
Coming in at number 8 is the black sheep of the franchise, I guess you could call it, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Now, as a kid, when I would go into the movie stores and I would go in the horror section and I'd look at the VHSs, that one I always saw like the cover and it looked cool, but I always avoided it because it did not have Michael Myers in it. And I did not watch that movie for the longest time because it did not have Michael Myers in it as a kid. It wasn't until I got older that I watched it and I was like, man, this is actually a pretty good movie. And over the years, I've come to take it what it is. Now, it does have the setbacks of, you know, it does not include Michael Myers. And I think that kind of turns a lot of people off. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest it. Just go in there thinking it's not a Halloween film. It is, but it isn't. And I get what they were going for. They wanted to branch out. Michael Myers was in the first 2, and then every Halloween, I think they were going to make a new anthology of a Halloween film. And this was they tried it, it failed, but it's still a great time. I've grown to love it. It is cheesy. The main protagonist, love him, and he's just like this Chuck Norris looking dude. He just don't care, man. He's just going in there, he's goofy, he's a womanizer, man. He's just like, you know, typical 80s mustache guy. The bad guys were creepy. There's a scene with the family and a kid and they're experimenting with these masks, and like, to me that was the craziest part of the movie. You just gotta watch it. A scene happened and you're like, whoa. But overall, not a terrible movie. It slides because it doesn't have Michael Myers, so a lot of people probably won't even, you know, consider it in there. But I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. Just take out that aspect of it, and I think you'll enjoy it too. So from there, we move on to number
7.
Coming in at number 7 is 2007's Rob Zombie's Halloween, the remake / reboot, however you want to title it. I love Rob Zombie films, so going into this, I was excited. Plus, it's Michael Myers, and I'll say this: I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I remember watching this in theaters with my friends, and man, it was just a great time, especially when little Michael comes up behind a tree and swings that stick and kills the bully. I remember one of my friends sitting next to me, you know, he was like, man, I'd grab that stick and beat that little kid. You know, we're just laughing, having a good time. It felt like 2 different movies in a good way to me, because the beginning, you got the origins of Michael and you're going through things. typical Rob Zombie language and just family home life, what you would expect. But then like it cuts. I feel like after that, you know, I was really invested in that one. Then it cuts and you see Laurie about halfway through the film. And you got her and her friends and stuff. And then that starts becoming a rehash of the 1978 film. And it was good. Was it as good as the original? No, not at all. But Michael, he was so vicious in this film. He was so angry. He like was doing some crazy kills. And even in Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie. But it's, I don't know. It was good. And I really enjoyed it. But do I consider it part of the Halloween canon? I guess not, because it's separate. But I liked it for what it was. I liked this Michael. He was vicious. He was... To me, if you like Rob Zombie movies, you're going to love it. If you don't, you're probably not going to like this one. But all in all, I liked it. So that's where I put it at my spot. But there's a few more ahead of it, including this next one at
Number 6.
Coming in at the number 6 spot is Halloween 2018. Guys, after Resurrection, after the Rob Zombie ones, when they said they were coming back and they were going to make this another branch off, it was a sequel directly after the first one. I was like, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. I was interested in Danny McBride doing work on this movie because I'm a fan of his. So I was like, let's see what this has. Guys, I went in there. The opening credits to me, I knew right away it was going to be good. The whole beginning, you know, he's screaming at the mask, look at it, look at it. And then, or say something. I don't know, he was saying something. Say something, look at it, whatever. It's been a minute since I've seen it. But it goes straight into this title card of this pumpkin, the rotting pumpkin from the first one, rising back. And I loved it. I was like, man, I'm set. What a sweet way to start it. Michael, even though he's older in this one, man, the dude is vicious. I mean, he's killing kids, man. There's some great kills in this movie. It made Michael scary again. Very pumped for it. Was I a fan of The Mask? Not as much, but I see where they're going with it. You know, it's been years, so it's kind of dirty. It fits the old man persona. But man, after watching it, I was like, wow, this is great. The ending, I thought the ending of the movie, the way Laurie, man, I was all for it, man. Laurie was going toe-to-toe, man. Her daughter was faking like she was scared, and then, gotcha, boom. Man, I remember I was so pumped on that scene. Just, the movie itself was really good. I enjoyed it. Made Michael scary again. It had a lot of good stuff. I thought the ending was great. I thought, man, they killed him off for good. What a cool way to kill Michael. Well, it wasn't, but I see now where they're going with it. But I know what you're saying, man, all this praise, and it's only at the number 6 spot. Well, it's still relatively new is the reason why. You know, it's great. I just haven't watched it as much as these other ones. So for that, I gotta say, great movie. Highly recommend it. Take it what you will. I still consider all of them one piece. You know what I mean? My timeline is the 1st through the 7th movie. But this is a good one too. So guys, I highly recommend it. But now, we're getting ready to crack the top 5. So here, coming in,
Number 5.
the number 5 spot goes to one of the best and most underrated sequels of this franchise. I'm talking about Halloween 2, baby. I remember when I was a kid and I got this DVD, and you know, I'm used to watching the ones on AMC every year, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I watched this, and man, I was hooked. Michael was so vicious in this, even more than the first one. I love the mask. I love the hospital scene. I mean, I could see where people might think, well, is it really part of Halloween? It's just in a hospital the whole time. I loved it. I thought it was great. The ending, I could see how they killed them off. The chemistry there with Laurie, you know, she's scared. Michael's hunting her down. Loomis doing his thing. Guys, I gotta say, I think it was pretty good sequel. I know John Carpenter didn't love it. I know some fans probably don't love it as much. You can't beat a classic, but I highly recommend this sequel. Check out Halloween 2. Not the Rob Zombie one, you can, but I think this one will be just as good. But that's number 5. Now we're getting into number 4, and here it is.
Number 4.
Guys, number 4 takes me back to childhood once again. I'm talking 1998. I'm talking Halloween H2O, Halloween Water, or Halloween 20 years later, whichever one you want to go with. Guys, this movie, I remember my grandma buying the VHS of this and Bride of Chucky for me when I was a teenager, and I was so excited because I loved them. They both came out around the same time, and she got them both for me, and she knows I love Halloween, and we always did Halloween stuff as a kid. I remember watching this, and still to this day, to me, the greatest opening sequence of the Halloween films has got to be in H2O. I mean, it's creepy. The nurse, she's going in her house. He's lurking in the shadows. Young Joseph Gordon-Levitt is, you know, getting stabbed with his blade of his hockey blades there. And I mean, it's great. Man, it's so intense. It's so creepy, so eerie. And then it follows that into this, the title cards and stuff, and you see it, and it's showing all the masks, and it's got that one painted mask, and man, I love it. And then it goes and it follows Laurie Strode, who now is known as Miss Tate, and she is in California, and she's at this private school. She's like headmaster there, headmistress, whatever you want to call it, and she's got a son now, but she's still haunted by Michael. And then here it's on his 17th birthday. She starts thinking she sees things. Well, he has found her, and he's hunting her down. And you got LL Cool J in there. He's the security guard, Ronnie, and he's funny, man. He's reading his book. He's trying to do these things, and me and my friend always quote that stuff from him. He's funny. The kills, there weren't as many kills in this one. It was good. I think I just like it because that was like, besides renting a VHS, like I remember that came out when I was old enough to like, I don't think I watched it in theaters, but I just remember like, man, this was so exciting. The ending is the best ending in a Halloween film. It's gotta be. When Laurie, man, she's out there, she's got the axe screaming, Michael! I was like, yes, let's go. The whole scene, she's driving, they're flipping, she's smirking, gets him down there, chops his head off, and she's breathing as the credits roll. I mean, guys, that movie, if you don't like the rest of it, at least watch. You just gotta appreciate those. I'm a big sucker for a beginning of the movie to get you. I'm a huge fan of the way a movie ends, and that movie ended perfectly. And I know, like, man, it's 4th. Well, there's a reason why on those. But guys, such a great movie. I highly recommend it. Now we're breaking into the top 3, and here we go at
Number 3.
All right, guys, here we go. The top 3. And now I know some people's probably already like, his list is a little off. I mean, there's things here and there. And this will probably be the most controversial listing on my list. But I gotta go at number 3, Halloween 1978, the original, the masterpiece. Now guys, hear me out here before you freak out on me. Great movie. I obviously was not alive during this time when it came to theaters, but think about all the movies that it spawned. The slasher genre took off because of this movie, and it sets the tone for Halloween. It's so creepy, it's so eerie, it's so good. There's so many just great things in the movie. The way he's just lurking around, Laurie's trying to figure him out, or she's just a babysitter on Halloween night, her and her friends. And all we know is this guy, this mass killer, is going around killing people. We don't know why. We find out in the next one, oh, their brother, but then they retcon that later on and stuff. But this one, so great. I know this is number one on a lot of people's list, and rightfully so. The only reason it's here is because of my favorite word, nostalgia, and I'll explain that in a minute. But guys, Halloween 1, like I said, it sets the tone. Every Halloween you gotta watch it. I remember it being on TV every Halloween. I'd watch it. Still to this day, it's a great movie. You know, I'm a guy who enjoys the sequels more than the original on anything, not just scary movies, just any movie, because the beginning movie, you're kind of setting the tone with these characters. The sequels, you can start having fun with them expanding. Kind of like, you know, look at Friday the 13th. It took a little bit. My favorite one of his is number 6 in the series. I love as it gets older, it just gets wackier. But it's still a great one to watch. If you're gonna watch anyone off this list, this one is it, obviously. Like I said, this is just my opinion of my favorites. But overall, you can't beat the original Halloween. Check it out. 2 left, guys. Think you know what they are? And now let's get right into it.
Number 2.
If you're still stuck around after the atrocity that was number 3 on my list, then I hope you're still stuck around, because at number 2 is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. I know a lot of people hate this movie, and I know people that love it for nostalgia reasons. I'm one of them. Here's why. Now, I'm not saying this is the best one. This is just my favorites. This is why it's number 2. It picks up right after Halloween 4. And Halloween 4 and 5, I always consider basically one movie. Even though it's different in a way, but I consider them that. So, in this one, Michael Myers, who survived an explosion, gunshots, you know, he's in a coma, and a hermit's taking care of him for a whole year. And then his niece from the 4th one, well, she's mute now, and she's at the hospital, and he's out trying to kill her. The reason why this ranks so high on my list is because of 3 words. AMC Fear Fest. Every Halloween, especially when I was getting too old to trick-or-treat, I would go uptown to my grandma's house, and I would hand out candy to the trick-or-treaters, but also I'd be sneaking off to the back bedroom, and AMC Fear Fest always played Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and the original, and I would sit there and watch them every year, and still to this day I do that. When I think of Halloween, I always think of 4 and 5, right there. I know a lot of people, like I said, don't like it. I do. I just remember things about it. The whole laundry chute, garbage chute scene with Michael and Jamie, that was intense. I think about the barn scene. I always remember, like, I feel like anytime that's playing on TV and you walk by, there's the kittens in the barn and he's got that scythe and he's killing in there. The scene in the hospital where Jamie looks out her window and sees him and she's running and she thinks he's after her. Man, that was creepy. There's a lot of good things in the movie. There's a lot of off things too, like you know, Jamie's mute in this one. She's got a friend, and you know, it's a weird connection there. The cookie woman, the big cookie woman. Loomis is a psycho in this movie. I don't know what's going on with him. He's freaking out, trying, like, he just has turned the knob. He's, oh, where is he, Jamie, just freaking out. The Man in Black, hated that subplot. Still don't know what that's about. It led into 6 and the cult thing. If that wasn't in there, you know, like I said, see guys, that's what I'm saying. Even my favorites have flaws. That, the cult thing I wasn't a fan of. Also at the ending, you never hear people talk about this as much, but Michael, he gets caught, he's in chains, and he's sitting there in the jail cell dangling his chains before the big explosion in the ending. I hated the ending. I hated the Michael playing with his chains. Actually, I think that was funny. But the cult thing turned me off on it. But if I just take that out of it and just focus on everything but the last 20 minutes, or so, I have a good time with it. Like I said, nostalgia plays a big part in this for me, and that's why it's my number 2. And if you ain't figured it out by now, you already know what the number 1 is, guys. So let's get right into it. Numero uno. Here we go.
Number 1.
We made it, guys. Number 1, my favorite Halloween film in the series is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Love this movie. Like I just said with the number 2 spot, nostalgia is so big on this one. I remember every Halloween, 4 and 5's on there. If I'm watching Halloween, I'm watching the first one, 4th and 5th every Halloween, just because that's what I did as a kid. You're sitting there, you're eating the candy, you're watching these. And I'll say this, to me, no other film in the franchise feels more Halloweenish, has the spirit of Halloween than Halloween 4. The opening title cards is my favorite. Now the opening scene of mine is H2O, but the opening credits, Halloween 4, it's showing the fields, it's showing everything Mid-South. I love it. It's so good. It's so creepy. It completely sets me in the mood. Even the jerk boyfriend in this one, Brady, I liked Brady. Who didn't like Brady? You know what I mean? Like, he was funny for what he is. I wish he would have lived. You got Rachel, who I had a crush on as a kid. Man, that was one of my crushes right there. And of course the main girl, Jamie. Now Jamie is Laurie Strode's daughter. Laurie Strode apparently died off screen between the 2nd and 4th one. And so Jamie is Michael's niece, and apparently he's got some connection. He's after her. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I guess the cult thing in the 5th one explains it, but man, it's so intense. I know Michael's mask is so weird in that movie, but I love it. It just looks so weird. I love it. The kills are great. The whole scene at the gas station, I enjoyed. Let's see what else. They had the school thing. They had the ending. He's just all stiff standing there. They're shooting him, running him over. Loomis is Loomis. Like, man, this starts the funny Loomis. He meets this really angelical Christian guy driving down the road. They have a funny dialogue there between them. You know, the ending, once again, I'm picking flaws here, because no movie's perfect. The ending, I did not care for. I did not like how she turned evil. But then in the 5th one, they retconned that, and I guess she wasn't evil. But it was good. You take out that part, there's a lot of endings in these movies I didn't like, apparently. But for some reason, childhood makes me think of 4, makes me think of 5. That's why they're there. And that is why Halloween 4 is my favorite film in the Halloween franchise. And guys, that completes it. This is my rankings of my favorite Halloween films in the series. And Halloween Ends comes out this weekend. Are you gonna go watch it? Comment down below, let me know. Guys, I'm super excited. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I put a lot of work into this. Like I said, it's not the best list. It's just my personal list. You know, that's how it goes. But guys, thank you for everything. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your list. Let me know your favorites. What you agree with, what you don't agree with. Be nice about it. But guys, until next time, I'm going to keep putting out content all October. The spooky season is among us. But I had to cover one of my favorite Halloween movie series. The Halloween franchise, of course. Guys, until next time, I'm Zach. This is The Zach Show. And I'll see you in the next episode.